If electrons perfectly obey the laws of classical physics, every single atom in your body will collapse in a fraction of a second, and the universe will destroy itself. But you and I are still here. Why? Welcome to Science Hunter. We are going to derive the absolute backbone of quantum mechanics, the Schrödinger Equation. Let's start from beginning. Think of theoretical physics like a massive cube. Every physical law has its own territory. In our everyday world, classical mechanics rules. No crazy constant needed. Zoom out to the cosmos, gravity takes over, push things near the speed of light, and we enter relativity. But what happens if we zoom all the way down to the tiniest particle? We hit a wall. Welcome to the realm of quantum mechanics. And trust me, there is still uncovered theories waiting in the dark. You see, before the 1900s, quantum physics didn't even exist. But physicists started noticing glitches. The black body radiation, the photoelectric effect, but the biggest glitch of all, the atomic model. According to classical physics, an electron orbiting a nucleus is accelerating, and an accelerating charge emits electromagnetic radiation, meaning it loses energy. So technically every single electron should just spiral straight into the core and destroy the entire universe. But you and I still here. Why? To fix this bug, a new model was born, quantum mechanics. And its absolute beating heart is the Schrödinger Equation. It perfectly describes how isolated quantum particles behave. But if you really want to understand the quantum world, you can't just memorize this equation. You have to see where it's come from. So let's try it. Good luck. Let's start simple. The hydrogen atom. One proton, one isolated electron. The perfect sandbox to test our math. Quantum physics fixed the falling electron problem by stating a strict rule. The electron can only exist in exact or low energy levels, no in-betweens. That solves the crashing problem, sure, but these exact levels didn't just magically drop from the sky. Louis de Broglie asked the real question: how do these levels occur? His mind-bending answer was that every quantum particle can act like a wave, just like photons. But how does a wave create a strict energy levels? Two words: standing waves. Back the hydrogen atom. Imagine the electron's wave wrapping around the nucleus. It interferes with itself. For this wave to be stable, the length of the orbit has to perfectly match the wave's frequency. It's like a snake biting its own tail perfectly. And since the length of the orbit is tied to its distance from the core, only very specific distances are mathematically allowed. But why we are obsessed with standing waves? Because if the wave is moving, in other words, if it has angular velocity, the electrons emit light, loses momentum, and boom, it falls into the core. But a standing wave, it's perfectly still. There is no angular velocity, no light is emitted. That one is stable. Now, let's talk energy. On the wave side, we know frequency dictates a particle's energy tied together by the reduced Planck constant, h bar. On the particle side, we define energy using momentum and velocity. If we smash these two sides together, we get the Broglie wave equations. This is ultimate proof of duality. A photon can acquire momentum, an electron can acquire a wavelength. The dual identity is the true nature of tiny particles. But here is where things get blurry. The microscopic world is changed to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. You cannot exactly measure an electron's position and momentum at the same time. The electron isn't a solid ball. It is smeared out into a sea of possibilities. So that we have been talking about is actually probability wave. If this probability cloud acts like a wave, we should be able to use a wave equation to predict its future, right? Let's take the classical wave equation, break it down, and upgrade it for the quantum world. Look at the classical version. The amplitude is measured in meters. The spatial derivative on the left tells us how sharp the wave is bending, and the right side simply gives us the acceleration of the wave over time. Pretty straightforward. But our probability wave is completely dimensionless. Its amplitude square doesn't give us measures, it gives us the probability density of finding the particle. We are dealing with a totally different beast here. Plus, we just said that every quantum state has specific kinetic and potential energies. This means we have to stop dealing with acceleration and transform our equation to deal with pure energy. Total energy is just kinetic plus potential. Classically, kinetic energy is momentum squared divided by 2m. Using the Broglie trick from earlier, we can swap that momentum with h bar squared times k squared. Now, watch this trick. If we take the second spatial derivative of our wave solution, it naturally splits out to k squared. We use that OR advantage. By massaging the mass and adding the potential energy, the physical bending, the curvature of the wave perfectly transform into kinetic energy of the particle. What about the right side? Classically, we want acceleration, so we took the second term derivative. But quantumly, we want total energy, and we know h bar times frequency gives us exactly that. So, by taking just the first order time derivative of the probability wave, we extract its pure frequency. We plug this energy back into our wave equation, and finally, we reveal the Schrödinger equation. There is one last mind-bending detail. Why do we use complex number? Why add I? Look at classical standing wave again. There are moments when amplitude becomes exactly zero everywhere. If that happened to our electron's probability wave, it would mean that the electron exists nowhere for a split second. But matter cannot just vanish. To prevent the electrons from deleting itself, the wave must be a complex exponential function. This way, its total probability never drops to zero, because our wave now includes I. Taking derivatives will spit out imaginary values. To keep our physical reality, we built our quantum operators with imaginary counterweights. This is the absolute breakthrough. Marrying imaginary numbers with the physical world to ensure the strict conservation of probability. Complex numbers aren't just a math trick, they are the absolute backbone of quantum mechanics. And there it is, the Schrödinger equation. The ultimate rulebook that dictates how an isolated quantum particles evolves over time. Whether you believe in Copenhagen interpretation or evaluate many worlds, all mathematical rules lead to the exact equation. But what happens when our perfect isolated system crashes into a chaotic, noisy environment? The Schrödinger equation breaks down. It's no longer enough. To survive the real world, we must upgrade our math to density matrices and enter the advanced realm of open quantum systems. But we will explore that chaos in the future. Until then, stay curious and stay tuned.